Hello again. I've never really been a football fan. In fact, the last match I watched was the World Cup, the one where we beat the Krauts. I was reminded of this when reading about the death of Bobby Charlton recently. Now, although I know next to nothing about football, my recollection is that during that World Cup match in 1966, the top priority for the manager of the England team was to have the best football players possible in his team. This seems to me quite a sensible aim when you're in charge of a football team. You'd think it odd if instead of talent at kicking a ball around, the manager of the team was instead more concerned with the appearance of the players, that is to say, the colour of their eyes, hair, or skin. As for the idea that in 1966 the manager of the England team might have announced that his priority was to reduce the number of white players in the team, that would have been seen as quite mad. What on earth does that have to do with skill at playing football? Would you really get rid of Bobby Moore, say, simply so that you could boast that you had a black man in the team? Probably not. Times change, of course, and the Arsenal women's team have now apologised because the team has too many white people in it. There is no suggestion that a colour bar has been operating or that black people and Indians have been denied places in the team because of the colour of their skin. Let's face it, there are plenty of black women athletes in the country, and as far as black footballers go, I don't think that there's any sign that they're being discriminated against. I seriously doubt if racism is to blame for the lack of black players on the Arsenal team. Nevertheless, Arsenal have apologised and declared that there is a lack of diversity in their women's team and that they will work to deliver greater diversity as a priority. Greater diversity is, of course, code for getting rid of white players. Assuming that the present players in the team have been chosen for their proficiency and skill at football and not because of the colour of their skin, this means that Arsenal will be ditching the best players and replacing them with black and Asian people so that the photographs look better. This is utter raving lunacy. It is part of a wider trend, which is that there is a terrible anxiety on the part of any company or organisation, government department or charity to show that they do not cater only for white people. In itself, there's nothing wrong with this, of course. It would be unfortunate if potential users were to be discouraged from using some service or other because they had the idea that it was only for white people and that they might feel out of place there. One quite sees that. However, it has now reached the point at which the presence of white people is simply regarded as indicating racism, as when people complain that this or that music event has too many white people attending it. This is why the proportion of white people in advertisements, films, television programs, and posters is being drastically reduced to avoid any accusation that this or that organisation or company is too white. The ultimate aim seems to be to remove white people entirely from the picture, so to speak. Of course, some viewers will laugh at that and say that I'm exaggerating and that nobody's really trying to erase white people at all. This is just the kind of nonsense which one reads in the Daily Mail. I invite such people to click on the first link which I give in the description to this video, which is a photograph from the Facebook page of Essex County Council, my local authority. It advertises a support service for people with mental health problems and shows a group of 5 people attending such a group. The 5 people consist of 2 black people, 2 people of South Asian appearance, and one man who looks Chinese. Not a single white person is shown. Just for context, I will mention that according to the 2021 census, 88.8% of people in Essex are white. If you picked 5 people at random in the county, The odds statistically would be very much against coming up with a single black or Asian person. The chances are that all five would be white. In this advertisement, though, 100% of the people are not white. White people have simply been airbrushed from the population of Essex. In other words, 90% of the population are simply not worth mentioning or should not be portrayed. As I said earlier, I can understand how this game began, and I'm even able to sympathise with the aims of those who started it. However, when I see white people simply being removed from images or football teams just because they are white, then I feel it's time to sound a note of caution about what is happening. In the description to this video, I give a link to the Sky Sports report about the Arsenal women's team.